All right, so let's take a step back in time and talk about when this tree right here was just a sapling. The Oneida community was very interested in perfectionism, perfecting their inner life, perfecting their architecture, and also perfecting their landscape. So they drew inspiration from 19th century architect and landscape designer A.J. Downing. He was a big proponent of a naturalistic yet beautiful landscape that combined different shrubs, paths, bushes, and structures to make a harmonious landscape. One of his favorite features of any landscape was a tulip tree, and which he called it the most stately tree in North America. Now, the Oneida community had many people in it, and they had a great group of horticulturalists and gardeners, one of which was a man named Henry Thacker. And Henry Thacker was the one that planted this tree back in 1851, and it's grown to be 7 feet wide, 100 feet tall, and it's one of the largest trees in New York State, which we are super proud of, that grows right here in the quad. Looking back from the year 1870, Henry Seymour, another member of the community, recalled the efforts to put this tree in the ground. It was the spring of 1851. Mr. Thacker had the holes for the trees dug in the fall and a trench made around those that he selected to take up from various parts of the farm. And early in the spring, while the ball of earth that surrounded the roots was frozen, he went with the team, stone boats and bars, and pried out the balls of earth, trees and all, and had them drawn to the holes that were ready for them in the yard. No doubt the trees were much surprised when they came to wake up from their winter's sleep to discover they had joined the community. Nevertheless, they seemed to like their new quarters very much, for they grew right along in the most thrifty manner imaginable. So, with that said, let's turn it over to Bartlett Tree Experts, who will take over the maintenance from the community.
Welcome everyone. We're here with Mark Kicker from Bartlett Tree Experts and his crew today. We're going to go up on our tulip tree, which we figured out is over 170 years old. And what they're going to be doing, I'm going to let Mark tell you what we're going to be doing today with the tree. Go ahead, Mark.
So today the crew will be ascending the tree. We're going to be working to do a safety prune, so removing large dead branch structures, doing some reduction pruning over the mansion house to provide some clearance to the roof line and the windows. And while we are in the canopy, we're also doing a visual inspection of the cabling and the lightning protection systems. There are 13 cables in this tree that help support the large stems and branch structures.
Now Mark, how do we know physically what shape our tulip tree is in from the ground up?
So everything we want to look at when we're assessing the health of the tree starts at the base of the tree. So we want to inspect the root flare of the tree. That's where the main stem meets the soil grade here. So we'll start with a visual inspection of the stem, and we're looking for any open defects. We're looking for things like dead branches, and we're assessing during the winter time the live buds on the tree. And today this is a healthy tree.
Good to hear. So speaking of the root system, how does the root system work on this tulip tree? Being in the maintenance department here in charge of the buildings and grounds, I am fortunate and happy to say that I've never seen any roots coming through our foundation.
Yeah.
So this tulip tree, am I to assume that the root system goes straight down for a certain depth, or how's that work?
So that would be a thought that a lot of us do have about trees, is that the root system goes deep into the ground. The root systems of our trees in the northeast actually spread outward. So the root system of this tree, it will go about 7 to 8 feet into the ground, but most of the root system is reaching outward, and that helps support the large canopy. So the main root system for this tree comes out to the drip line where the branch ends, and it actually extends beyond that. So the root system for our tulip here actually extends throughout this entire courtyard.
Well, we are fortunate that we haven't seen anything trying to come to our foundation yet.
We are, yeah. So the roots most likely have reached the foundation and have spread outward along the foundation rather than penetrating through.
We work on a lot of large tulip trees in our area.
We don't work on a lot of large tulip trees. There are a lot of large tulip trees, but they're actually pretty rare because they were used for lumber production in the early 1900s. So a lot of our large older trees, tulip trees.
There you have it, folks.
All right, well, let's let these boys get to work. Thanks for talking with us today.